biggest game in the MEAC conference took place last week, and it ended with South Carolina State beating North Carolina Central for the second straight year in a row. And now I got on social media a couple days after. People, they do their top 10 HBCU rankings, and South Carolina State was not on there, but North Carolina Central was. And I want to know, what is the reason for that ranking? Why is South Carolina State still being looked at as not good enough when for the second straight year they've beaten North Carolina Central, a team, may I remind you, who y'all were ready to give the MEAC title to? They just beat them, putting them back in the driver's seat. Now, a lot of people look at South Carolina State's record and they say they're 3-4. I look at their schedule and I say they are now in the same spot that they were a year ago, exactly a year ago last year. On top of that, they still have a lot of home games left this season. Everything is playing to their advantage. Now, mind you, yes, they still have to go and beat Morgan State. They have to beat Delaware State. They have to beat Howard. I know this. I'm not oblivious to the fact, but I do believe that since they beat the team that you were ready to give the MEAC title to, they deserve to be in the rankings above North Carolina Central. I just wanted to say that first. As far as the game, completely proud of how South Carolina State played. And I wish that I didn't miss that game because I was there for 2 straight weeks before that. Corey Fields, this team moves as Corey Fields move. South Carolina State will go as far as Corey Fields will take them. Why? Because he's the quarterback. He's QB1. Without a good quarterback, you're not going to get far anyway. Corey has never been bad. Corey has just been inconsistent at times, but I went to bat for him. I've been upset, with some performances, but I've also gone to bat for him as well. When he's on, because I've seen him play great football, when he's on, South Carolina State is also on. It's going 21 of 31, 264 yards and 3 touchdowns versus North Carolina Central. That's not a small thing. That shouldn't be overlooked. And I think going forward with Corey Fields, they should follow that same game plan. Get him in rhythm early with some short passes, let him build up his confidence, and then watch it just take off. Watch the success take off. Watch him get more confident. He's going to start nailing a lot more of those throws, and South Carolina State is going to prevail as a result. That's what I think you should do going forward. Now, statistically, this is probably the best he's played all season, because I don't think he threw an interception. So hats off to Corey Fields. Shaq Davis, man, is Shaq one of the best playmakers in the country. Shaq is one of the best playmakers in the country. Let's talk about him for a minute. 6 receptions, 116 yards, averaging 19.3 yards per catch on the season and 2 touchdowns. Now, not only is he one of the best playmakers in the country, he's one of the most consistent wide receivers in the country. Every season that he's played for South Carolina State, he's averaged 20 yards a catch. I don't think you understand how hard that is. Show me somebody else who's done that. Put some respect on that man's name. And it's not that we don't, it's that we just don't talk about him enough. Put some respect on Shaq Davis's name. He deserves it. Tyrese Nick, that's what I found interesting, right? There was a play versus North Carolina Central that I went back and watched, and I said, okay, Tyrese Nick is in our running back. And I liked it because it ended in a touchdown. Tyrese Nick is a hell of a runner. We saw that. If you didn't know who Tyrese Nick was before, you saw that on stage versus North Carolina Central, man. He's great. And even versus the Gamecocks, he gave them a lot of life on the ground. Tyrese Nick needs to be used as a weapon. Let's use him more with Kendrill Flowers. I want to see more of him in the backfield. Let's get creative with Tyrese. This is his last year. Too much talent to be on the bench. Going forward, way too much talent. So yeah, I would look into giving Tyrese Nick some more carries at running back. If I'm honest with you, if he can't be in at the quarterback position, 8.5 yards is what he averaged on both attempts. I'm pretty sure he could have kept it up had he gotten more attempts. I know that's your backup quarterback. If Corey goes down, then who are you going to have? Then I get that. But I'm just saying Tyrese Nick is a phenomenal athlete. So I think he should be used just a little bit more at that position. I love what I saw. I love the creativity by Coach Pugh and his offensive coordinator. And I don't know. I just want to see more of that going forward. I loved it. I love what I saw on that front. Defensively, Patrick Godbolt. Jablonski Green, absolute forces. And they came up and they played their best when they needed to. This game was important. Make no mistake about it, because now they're in the driver's seat for the Celebration Bowl to get back there. Jablonski and Patrick played a hell of a game. And then B.J. Davis. We cannot forget about B.J. Davis. What a phenomenal talent he has been this season. I mean, NFL talent. We know this already. We don't have to get on that about his future on Sundays. But him this season, he's been great. He's been everything that South Carolina State has needed him to be. On top of that, his leadership skills. That's what we don't talk about, his leadership skills. There was a play it was an important play in the game. South Carolina State, I think they got a stop or, some kind of tackle. And, number 11, he gets in the player's face and he's like, he's flexing and all of that. The referee doesn't like it. He throws a flag. As a result, B.J. Davis then gets in the player's face and say, hey, we can't do that. We are too close. This game is too important. We need to be focused. You can't do stuff like that. You saw the leadership skills of B.J. Davis. That just shows you that he's more important to this team than people give him credit for. Not only is he a great talent, but he's embraced that leadership role. He is one of the guys on that defense who gets everybody in line and who everybody looks to, to get them going. He's an established starter. He's a great talent. Zion Keith, providing great support for that secondary. I'm so glad that they picked him up from Wake Forest. You don't know how glad I am, especially after losing to Kobe Durant and Zafir Kelly. The thing is, the question was, well, who was going to replace him? Who was going to replace Kelly? And Zion Keith comes along and he's been balling. I mean, this is a guy who has experience coming from the Power 5 level with the ACC. And last but not least, Dwayne Nichols with the clutch interception to seal the victory for South Carolina State. Great play by him. Great heads-up play. He did have a pretty good game from the tape that I've seen. So, South Carolina State, I'm happy for them. I'm happy because a lot of people wrote them off very early on in the season. And I've been trying to be the person who stands up for him. And I shout out to my guy Terrence Tucker with the South Carolina State Bulldog Report. Please go follow him on Instagram and Twitter. He does a great job. But for those of you who don't follow him, there's not anybody else outside of him really putting on for South Carolina State in the job that they have been doing. I told y'all, they have the talent to make this a thing for a long time. They had the talent to make the same run that North Carolina A&T did back when they were in the MEAC. They just got to, things just have to fall into place. And it looks like it's starting to. So, still a lot of games to go. Still a lot of season left to be played, a lot of football left to be played. And, South Carolina State is going to have to continue to win out in the conference. But this was a very good starting point. This was a great starting point. And I'm happy that they were able to pull out the win versus North Carolina Central like I knew they could. Was I nervous? Of course I was. Because seeing them play in recent weeks, I know that they could play better than what they've done. But my faith never wavered from them. I've been nervous, but my faith never wavered from South Carolina State. So happy for my dogs. I hope they continue to play great football. I think I'm going to be back down there in Orangeburg sometime this season. And of course, I can't wait. Hopefully they make it official and book their tickets back to Atlanta for the Celebration Bowl in December. With that being said, you are watching the BlitzCity Podcast. I'm your host, Kobe Orr, and I'm out. Peace.